This time they went after a superpower. And people are looking at, and the U.S. is saying, we're going to put everything we got into Ukraine. You're going to see the full power of the United States. We're going to give them money. We're going to give them weapons. We're going to give them intelligence. We're going to give them everything. We're going to show what we can do in Ukraine, and we're going to knock the hell out of the Russians. And they did it. And Putin did what he does. Met with his people, took his time, considered their response in a measured way, utilized a broad array of options, economically, diplomatically, militarily, and ultimately, and he engaged time. We're going to use time. We're not in a rush. He did all of those things, and naturally, he's having success. And now the whole world is saying, well, you told us you were going after the big fish right now. You told us you were going to come out swinging and you're going to knock the crap out of the Russians. Let's watch it. The big boys are fighting. And they knocked you on your ass. And you're going to go crawl away to another war and lose that one too. This is the big L for the U.S. empire. This spells the end of the U.S. empire. And people are like, oh, they'll go to nukes. They'll go to, no, they don't. They're going to take the L. It's what they always do. They always take the L. And they always believe we can take this L and move on and people just forget about it. They always believe that. Why? Because historically, that's what's happened. They'll take an L in a second and walk on about their business, go on to their next move, right? I think it's going to be quite the same this time because the whole world is looking at it. And you will see, after the end of this conflict, you will see the rise of other powers. You will see more and more countries push back. You'll see countries start to give the U.S. the finger. The U.S. is still very powerful economically, very powerful militarily, but people aren't afraid. See, power is only power until you use it. Then it becomes force, right? So now what countries are going to say is, you claim to have power. I ain't going to do it. You're going to have to use force. And can you use force everywhere? Can you use force in Africa? Can you attack countries in South or Latin America? Can you attack countries here? You can't use force everywhere. At the same time, you're still threatening Russia. You're still threatening China. You can't use force everywhere. So this is the big one. This is a big L. And the Republicans are going to make it happen so they can use it to beat Biden over the head, but it don't matter whether they do or not at this point. Even if they kept, the only thing they could do is keep pouring money into Ukraine, and the money would go and the stuff would get blown up. But at this point, the Republicans are going to back out, and they're going to leave Biden and Nuland and Blinken exposed. They're going to leave them exposed. They're going to leave them exposed in national politics. And it wouldn't shock me, in the same way that you're starting to see the New York Times and the Washington Post and all of these people and the CNN turn on Netanyahu and saying Netanyahu's got to go. I think they'll turn on Biden. When he drops this, when he loses this, I think you'll see the ruling elite class turn on Biden. And what they'll try to say is, it wasn't the U.S. that lost this war. It was Biden and Nuland and Blinken. It was the U.S. empire is not weakening. The U.S. empire didn't do stupid things and lose a war. It was just a few idiots leading things, and we'll take them out and flog them, send them on their merry way, send them to the Center for Strategic Evil, Terrible Things, and they can work at that think tank, and we'll tell them to keep their mouths shut, or maybe work on a censorship plan or something with Stanford University to stop people from tweeting things we don't like. We'll send them over there to do that, and we'll move on about our day. That's the plan. Planning will work so well, because the other thing you're going to see is our quote allies, vassal states in Europe, are going to say, holy sweet mother of Jesus, what did we just see happen? We got dragged into this mess. And we're more dependent on the U.S. than we ever were. And the U.S. is going to squeeze them even tighter. And you're going to see other countries start to say, we don't want to be allies with these people. My God, man, look what they've done. They're a disaster. We want to be allied with Putin. Why? Because he kicked their ass. Well, let's see. Here's the opposite. The guy that got his ass kicked, or the guy that did the ass kicking. Most people could go with the guy that did the ass kicking, not the guy who ended up with a footprint all over his butt